Put the pedal to the floor in the playoffs with our 2025 NFL Wildcard Weekend picks and predictions. That's right. It's our top 15 best bets coming your way on a brand new episode of the IBT podcast.
I've been going dummy, out of bounds, putting on a clinic. Stick around, carrots in my hardware. KC, caught him in the crosshair. Look at me, been the guy calling Mr. MVP. Keep your ass on the bench by my MPC. Earn my stripes like I fix this league. Your dog's on the turf, my dog's in the street. You can find me somewhere in between. Never a dull moment like a movie scene. About to do the ops like I did this beat. Let them keep talking RG3. Coming to you live. This is the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast.
All right, and welcome into the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast, your place for a refreshing and feel-good take on fantasy football and NFL gambling. The NFL playoffs are officially upon us, and it's a full slate of betting shows coming your way this week. In this episode in particular, we're going to give you our best bets for Wild Card Weekend. Then later in the week, we'll preview the playoffs and the rest of season futures markets. I'm your host, Seth Woolcock, coming off a 2-3 week. And I got to say, it was a frustrating one, right? Hit two of my least confident wagers of the weekend. So always a bit wonky how that unfolds. But hey, the Pittsburgh Steelers had maybe the most improbable win of all time on Sunday Night Football. So beggars cannot be choosers. Back with me is quite the cast of characters, including a jack of all, master of none. He's the host of the 19th Hole and Popcorn Root Beer, betting on everything from football to the PGA Tour to movies. He's Hot Take Jake Perry. Jake, how did Week 18 come out in the wash for you, and what are the vibes like heading into the postseason?
No comment. It was a rough week. I didn't go too crazy.
Yeah.
I 1-4 is what I ended up in.
Okay.
Hit a touchdown.
Yeah,
we'll take it. It made it much less of a loss than it should have been. I ended up down a unit, so I can't complain overall. It hit well. Vibes, I'm a Bears fan. They're there. We have that.
Yeah.
We're in the playoffs. We're playing Green Bay.
At home.
Yeah. The last team that Green Bay beat was us, and the last team that we beat was Green Bay. So this is interesting. I am a little shocked we are the Amazon Prime game. This game felt like it was primed to be standalone TV as opposed to a streaming service. But hey, I can't complain. I'm just happy we're here. I said before the season, 9-8, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
We will take it indeed. I'm right there with you. I've been singing the song Steelers going to go 9-8 again since really, the beginning of this season. And
2017.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. So I'm just, I like you, happy to be in the mix, happy to be dancing. And speaking of guy who's his team is dancing, back with us is a man who he bets overs like they're going out of style. He's Boston's boy, Steven Lawson. Steve, how are you? How was the Week 18 betting card? And what's the excitement level as we head into Super Wild Card Weekend, if they're still calling it that?
Yeah, the betting card was immaculate because I took the week off. I was busy and was forbidden from placing too many bets because I was traveling around, didn't have enough time to sit and actually lay any money down with any sort of confidence. But I did give some advice last week that the overs were not hitting, and it was rather frustrating that offenses looked abysmal in the NFL in a lot of different ways. I thought backup quarterbacks would be better. I think a lot of guys played themselves out of jobs, but my hometown New England Patriots are looking strong heading into the playoffs, so I guess I'll take that as somewhat of a win. It was an overall positive regular season for me, and I'm looking forward to making it a very positive postseason.
Let's go. We need it because I'll tell you what, boys, while it was a really solid NFL regular season for me, one of my worst future market betting seasons I've ever had. I was terrible in it this season. Some of that due to injury, some of that due to bad luck, some of that just bad calls, honestly. So excited to see what we can dig up in this episode for Wild Card Weekend picks. And then again, we'll have the second episode out later this week on the future markets for Super Bowl picks, anything we're feeling in the awards markets, and all the prop leaders for the postseason. And as always, before we get into the program, shout out to everyone who is making us part of their week, either here on the In Between Media YouTube channel or the audio feed. Thank you so much for all the support this season. Please do us a quick favor. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this type of content. Also, make sure you're subscribing to the channel if you're new. And speaking of people riding with us, we got our guy Ben. Ben is stopping in. Ben has a fun article with player props also coming out on the website later this week, in-betweenmedia.com. That's where you can find all the written action we have going on from great people like Ben. And if you guys want more of us as well, consider checking out the IBT football family that is now absolutely free to join. You're going to get access to our analysts and memorabilia giveaways for free at no cost to you. And if you want to get access to our full betting cards, our touchdown call contest, you can actually upgrade for $3.99 per month or $36 for the year. That will also include all benefits to our NASCAR family and the PGA Entertainment families launching very, very soon. So excited for all that. Again, you can join at in-betweenmedia.com/chat or with the link in the episode description. And we also have a free bonus tournament that anyone can join right now during the NFL playoffs. We're hosting a PropDecks contest where you actually get to build a player prop-based fantasy football lineup from Wild Card Weekend all the way through the Super Bowl, baby. Winner is going to take home a $200 Fanatics gift card courtesy of our friends over there at PropDecks. Second place, you're going to get an autographed Zach Evans Ole Miss Rebels jersey. They're still dancing, baby. And then third, that's going to score you a free entry in our 2026 edition of Draft Night Out. That's our live fantasy football draft party at the Canton, Ohio Fantasy Football Expo in July. Limited spots are available. You can now join for free by going to in-betweenmedia.com/chat, joining the Discord, and going to the NFL Playoffs PropDecks contest channel. Huge thank you to our partner PropDecks for helping us make every moment of the NFL playoffs matter just a little bit more. And we'll be revealing our PropDeck lineups later in the episode as well. But gentlemen, what do you say we start by diving in some betting cards? What do you say?
Love it.
Diving boards are fun.
Between bets, here we go.
Between bets. Between bets.
It's Between Bets. It's our wild card weekend best bets. We each have 3 player props we're going to walk you through. What really felt like a proppy week to me, honestly, these games felt like the lines were very well set in Vegas from both a totals and ATS standpoint. So I'll have a little money line sprinkle that I'm going to give out in a potential parlay. But aside from that, we're all 3 sticking to the player props. And that includes you, Jake, who you are starting with one of these players who we are just happy to see in the postseason once again.
Yeah, so I'm going starting us off with Christian McCaffrey over 5.5 receptions. That's coming off the board at plus 116 right now via FanDuel. Philly has been pretty solid against receivers so far on the year. Only allowed 63 receptions on the season. However, it's Christian McCaffrey. We know what this man is capable of. When we look at what he's done, he's hit this number in 2 of the last 3 games. The only game he didn't was against Chicago, where he put up 140 on the ground, so he didn't really need to catch that many passes. But I have a feeling this game is going to be more offensive, just given how bad the 49ers defense is. They're going to have to throw the ball at a very, very high rate. Philly's run defense has been comparatively solid as well. So it's going to be much easier for them to get CMC involved in the pass game, in my opinion. So I lean that route versus any of his rushing props.
Okay, and Steve, you're actually sticking with a running back with yours first bet of the night as well. One that will be playing on Monday Night Football against my Pittsburgh Steelers in the city of Bridges, baby.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a rough one for your lures out there in Pittsburgh, because I think Woody Marks is going to go for over 60 rushing yards. I don't know if it'll be the prettiest 60 yards we've ever seen. It might be one of those like 3-4 yards in a cloud of dust kind of things, but the reason why I think this is going to hit is because of the opposite side of the ball from Woody Marks. It's the defense for the Houston Texans that will keep the Pittsburgh offense frequently punting. Aaron Rodgers does not want anything to do with Will Anderson Jr., and unfortunately, he can't escape to the other side because Danielle Hunter is sitting over there waiting to rip his head off as penance for what he used to do to him when he was a Viking. There is bad blood, I'm sure, for Danielle Hunter and Aaron Rodgers between the two of them. That Houston defense is so legit that I do expect this to be a little bit of a blowout in favor of the Houston Texans, which means Woody Marks should get a decent chunk of rushing opportunities. I could see this going as high as 20 totes for Woody Marks, and that means 60 should be easily within his grasp.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I had some clenched butt cheeks on Sunday night when Derrick Henry rips off a 60-yarder right off the bat. Luckily got called back, and then he still, I think by the end of the first 2 drives, had something around 60 yards. So Woody Marks potentially going to be the next man up there to face the Steelers defense. And I'm going to stick here in Pittsburgh, and I'm going to back the Lurs, and I'm going to do it by backing one of my favorite all-time players. # We are Penn State, baby, or maybe Iowa State now. I'm not really sure with all the transfer portal moves, but either way, I'm going with Pat Freiermuth over 34.5 receiving yards. This is -113 at DraftKings. And one of the benefits of DK Metcalf being suspended the last 2 games, Darnell Washington also getting banged up early in week 17, is that it finally reminded the Steelers organization what a good player this son of a gun Pat Freiermuth is, right? He is averaging 5 targets and 44.8 yards per game over the past month, 2 games with and 2 games without DK Metcalf. Aaron Rodgers has talked glowingly about Muth in that time, calling him, quote, his guy, referring to back to things that Pat is saying in the huddles and interviews. So, like, that plus a 70% snap share in the past 2 weeks with no Darnell Washington gives me a tremendous amount of confidence against a Texans team that has allowed the most targets and receptions to opposing tight ends in the past month. In terms of yards in that span, they've also allowed the 8th most receiving yards, 80 per game. So it's Muth to the moon for me, boys. And I don't know how you guys feel in general about this game, but I think the Steelers 3.5, like if you want to hit that, them being dogs by that much in their hometown on Monday Night Football, where they have not lost in Pittsburgh in 23 some years. Yeah, I'm about it. I'm about going that direction as well. So, Jake, any feelings on this game and overall vibes for Pittsburgh as a city? I know you told me you and the wife already looking at Airbnbs for the wedding coming up this summer.
That we are. Yeah, we love, I should say my wife loves Pittsburgh. Absolutely obsessed. Once we inevitably move out of Illinois, #1 contender for where we go. That said, I might be buying some points on the other side there. This Texans defense is disgusting.
Really?
I just don't trust the current form of Aaron Rodgers to get it done. I just feel like he just wants to get the ball out of his hand very quickly, and I don't know if you're going to be able to beat this defense by doing that. Like, so much pressure that's coming off the line, as Steve mentioned, with Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson. The linebackers are playing well. The defensive backs have been very solid. Like, it's a scary matchup. They're going to have to get the running game going. I actually almost went back to the Kenny Gainwell again, just because
I tailed you 2 weeks ago, and he finally let us both down that game.
Yeah, but I might still go back to it.
But he had 8 receptions last week, then, right?
I know. That's the game that Rodgers is playing right now, especially without DK. So maybe him coming back changes things. But I don't know, man. If I might push this spread a little bit for Houston.
Okay, Steve, are you gonna go to Pittsburgh a couple days before the wedding, hang out with Jake and company, or is it like, hey, I'm getting into the wedding and then I'm getting out of Dodge, out of Western PA? Can't spend too much time over there. I might become a Yinzer.
I you know what? I definitely won't become a Yinzer. Pittsburgh has kind of like a bitter taste in my mouth. My ex-boyfriend is a Yinzer. From the city of Pittsburgh, I spent a lot of time out there.
Let's go reclaim
years
it.
Ago.
Yeah.
You know what?
I agree.
It's kind of like, you ever eat really bad food? You ever eat at like a restaurant and you get like food poisoning, or like you get like the
and
flu,
you can't go back.
bug,
yeah.
And you can never go back.
Yeah.
That's kind of Pittsburgh. And I liked Pittsburgh beforehand. While I was there, I'm like, this city's dope. I had your weird sandwiches, that place out there, Permane Brothers. I thought it was a little too vinegary.
Did you do the incline? Did you do the incline?
What is that?
Okay, you haven't been to Pittsburgh enough then. Yeah. Have you had Rudy Subs?
No.
Okay, you haven't been to Pittsburgh enough. Have you been to
we
Tequila
broke up.
Cowboy? Have you been to Tequila
brother.
We
broke up. Right, I've never been back since.
All right. Well, we'll take you to Pittsburgh. We'll have a good time, Jake. How about
my heart is shattered and now? My heart was shattered and now belongs to a man who is from Cleveland instead of
little Millville Diner action down there out in the subs.
I do like the people from your part of the world, I gotta say.
Yeah, but we're great people. What can I say? And speaking of someone from that part of the world, Jamie checking in as well, saying, hey, dudes. Jamie, are you from Ohio? Do I have that right? Are you from PA? I think Jamie's definitely because I've seen him at the Expo a few times now. I think he is an Ohio guy. And I think he's a Browns fan, so he might be Midwestern. Let me know, Jamie. I'm curious to know in the chat because I agree. Midwestern people for life.
I mean, you can make all those states the same state and no one would
well, true.
There's a lot of similarities. I will give you that.
Yeah, that is fair. But we are certainly the best. Boys, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to throw out another bet for you, my number 2 best bet. And I'm going to shift to the running back market where I'm going to go with Blake Corum over 42.5 rushing yards, -114. Vegas is telling us in this game on Saturday, they moved the Texans out of this window. They said, hey, if there's going to be a blowout, we need it to be in the Saturday window. It's not going to get the best ratings. And right now, the Rams, they're probably going to be in a very positive game script as they're favored by over 10.5 against Carolina, even on the road. That and the Rams' intention of being in this dance for the long haul make me believe that they're going to turn to Blake Corum once again, the talented second-year running back. He was banged up last week, still saw 13 carries, 59 rushing yards as well. He's hit this line of 42.5 yards in 5 of his last 6 games, averaging 10.5 carries, 67.5 rushing yards per game in that span. The Panthers' rushing defense is also not turned back into the pumpkin it was the previous 2 seasons, but still very much become a run funnel over the past month, seeing the 3rd most carries per game, the 10th most yards per game in that span as well.
Rashad, eighth most total yards given up to running backs on the season.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so it's just getting ugly for him again. Like Rachaad White, when looking at some of these backup running backs who've been playing against him lately, Rachaad White was Rachaad White last week, right? I mean, pretty inefficient, only 23 yards on, I think it was 7 attempts, and then 45 yards on 5 carries, though, in week 16 against the Panthers was Rachaad White. And then the week before, back in week 17, we also had Ken Walker, Charbonnet. They combined for 161 yards 2 weeks ago. And then even Corum himself, in week 13, he ran for 81 yards on 7 carries in this closely contested contest. I backed Corum one other time this season. He cashed very nicely, easily, non-sweater in that one. So I'm going to hope to go 2 for 2 with the former Michigan Wolverine. And Jake, I'm going to turn it back over to you because you and Steve, it's not a full-on squad ride. You have the same player, but different approaches. So why are you on Travis Etienne for the strictly rushing yards?
Yeah, I'm going strictly rushing yards with Travis Etienne. I'm alting it up to 80, over 80 yards, which it gets you to 174 on FanDuel. Simply, I think Bashal Tutin's going to be healthy again. I think he's going to eat into a little bit more of the passing work there. Buffalo is definitely a team that you can run on. They are the worst rush defense in the playoffs, 6th most yards allowed on the season. And ultimately, I think Etienne is going to be in more of a running role, but I also kind of lean, similar to what you were saying with the positive game script for Blake Corum. I think Jacksonville is going to pretty handedly take this game. I don't trust this defense. I think Jacksonville is going to get out to a pretty solid lead early. And if Buffalo isn't clicking on all cylinders offensively, which is hard to do when you don't have a wide receiver with hands, then it's going to turn into a bunch of carries to run the clock out. And I think Etienne is going to be the guy that gets most of that work.
Okay. And Steve, you feel similar about Etienne, but you also see maybe some receiving upside in this game if it does go to a more negative game script.
Yeah, it just protects me against that negative game script. But the thing with the Buffalo defense is it sometimes can look good right up until it doesn't, right? Like this defense, it kind of plays well until something goes wrong, and then it's snowballs so bad. This is something where Etienne is a really explosive player. I mean, he could bust a long run and have me on the doorstep of this at any point. And what I like is that it's rushing plus receiving. I don't necessarily need him in that passing game work, but in the off chance that Buffalo comes out and looks like Buffalo on offense, and they're up 15 or 14 points, 21 points, it lets Etienne still stay in play for me, protects me against that letdown that I think Jacksonville could be a little more susceptible to than I think people want to admit. They want to think that this team has just fully turned it around and they're totally ready to go. This was a team that was pretty abysmal last year, and I don't think they're flawless defensively.
I will say they had a cake schedule down the stretch too. Tennessee, Indianapolis, Denver, which actually they performed really well against Denver's defense. But then the Jets, the Colts again, Tennessee again, Arizona.
Good point.
They played cakewalk games.
Yeah, I will say though, I've heard some very sharp betting minds this week saying that they don't only think Jacksonville has a chance to win this game outright, but they also think Jacksonville has a chance to get out of the AFC. Like there's a lot of steam right now on this Jacksonville Jaguars team. We'll see what they can do down the stretch. I would love it if they had someone like Travis Hunter to, just give him one more weapon on offense, but they're still doing really good. But, I almost had Parker Washington as one of my best bets this week. I wanted to go back to the well with him. His receiving yards sitting right around 50.5 yards, but ended up not going that way because the Bills secondary has been stout. It's just the run defense has been atrocious. Back to some comments as well about the great city of Pittsburgh, pushing that agenda once again. Jamie saying the best thing about Pittsburgh is that I'm not there. Yeah, I'm from Cleveland. All right, Jamie. Hey,
both are great.
I do like Cleveland. I like Cleveland. Cleveland's a fun city.
All I'm going to say is that sack record was a little sketchy. That was a little sketchy. Joe Burrow's comments for a guy who's as sharp as him, a little sketchy. And also, do you guys remember the video that went around like a year or two ago with the former sack champion who was like upset with Brett Favre at a card show or an autograph signing?
Yeah,
claiming loser behavior.
I'll tell you what, Lawrence Taylor, if he ever sees Joe Burrow out on the street, oh baby.
Why? What's Lawrence Taylor have to do with anything?
Well, wasn't he the sack leader? Wasn't he the sack
Michael
king?
Strahan was.
Oh, maybe. Okay, Strahan. Sorry, different Giants legend. But
no, but that, you know what? That guy who went up and and listen, Brett Favre is a loser, right? Like I don't like Brett Favre.
Well, yeah. I think we can all agree on that.
But that guy going up to him and being like, the sack, you're a loser, dude.
That was cringy.
Like, get a life. Like that's such loser behavior.
I'm just saying though, that was sketchy. Like, was that not a little sketchy? I thought, like, I don't know.
Listen, I don't want Myles Garrett falling on me. I would have fallen down too. Like, it was going to be a sack. He was not getting out of there. It was happening.
He protected himself from injury by trying to force something that makes no sense. When you look at any of the sack records, right? Like, sacks are to an extent a very beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Sure.
Scorekeeper dependent stat. Like guys get awarded sacks where quarterbacks fall down and they just happen to be the closest guy.
The half sack situation.
Right. Yeah. And I've even heard some stories of players in clubhouses who are like, they kind of talk in between them about like who actually gets credit for the sack. And then they that kind of gets relayed up to the scorekeeper and things get switched around. Because, some guys have incentives. If like one guy's a sack away and the other guy is like 5 sacks away, they give it to the guy who's 1 away. They're like, hey, I'll get you later. So sacks in general it's a wild stat the way that it's scored regardless. Props to Myles Garrett. You got the record.
This also isn't the thing Myles Garrett will be remembered for, which is hilarious to me that you can set a record like this and you're much more remembered for like bonking Mason Rudolph over the dome with a helmet. I think that's just absolutely elite, like tape.
Well, Steve, speaking of the city of Pittsburgh, once again, you are going back there for your last best bet of the week, and it's on a player who we have become very fond of on the show. We have taken.
Sure.
I'm just want to say every week, probably over the last 4 or 5, we have been on this guy. He was printing us money for a large portion of the season and carried our fantasy teams to championships. What do you have?
I got Kenny Gainwell or Kenneth, I guess. Oh, God. Can I just talk about how much I hate when people do that? Call me Kenneth, not Kenny. Ugh, get out of here. But I'll defend him anyway.
Mitchell Trubisky.
Like, oh, God, don't you just want to smack
Bill
him?
Krosky Merritt. Well,
no, like if he was like, call me William, but like his name's Jacory, right? But like even it bugs me. But
I just got to say the Bijan to now back to Bijan thing, that was more annoying than anything because everyone for the first quarter of the season was calling him Bijan, and then he's like, actually, I like to go by Bijan, and it's like, all right, dude, make up your freaking mind. Like,
it's like I'm pretty sure I've heard Etienne say it's A-Chain. Like I've heard 17 different things.
I think they just like to
F with people.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande goes by Ariana Grande, but she herself pronounces it Grandy.
We need to get ourselves on the NFL pronunciation guide emailing list because I have tried to find it. I only ever find outdated ones when I've been researching them. So just saying, if anyone knows where we can get some contacts at to get on that list, we would very much appreciate so we can get these names right. But Steve, please proceed with Kenneth Gainwell.
Yeah, Kenneth Gainwell. president of Pittsburgh. 70 plus rushing and receiving yards. Again, I kind of alluded to it earlier. Aaron Rodgers is going to be getting the ball out of his hands incredibly fast. And the way you get the ball out of your hands super fast is you throw it to your running back. Aaron Rodgers is old enough at this point that if he gets hit by Will Anderson, like really hit, he might just turn to dust. I mean, so it's not like that's not how he wants to go out, right? With this like massive injury. So, listen, and I wouldn't even fault Aaron Rodgers, and I've made my feelings on Aaron Rodgers clear on this show. This has nothing to do with any of it. I would not fault him at all if all he says is, I am telling you right now, I'm snapping that ball from the shotgun exclusively and throwing it to the first person I look at. I expect Kenneth Gainwell to have plenty of opportunity. He's also pretty explosive. He weirdly is very good with the ball in his hands. He can make those explosive plays. We saw that insane touchdown catch he had a few weeks ago, laying on the ground, all that stuff. He makes things happen. He's a playmaker. And when playmakers have a low output of 2 different stats that add up to 70, that feels awfully low. I like to go after it.
Okay. Yeah, I just, for me, it's like a buyer's beware type of thing, just because we've been paying like 45.5 yards, 50.5 yards, right? And now we're all the way up here. I mean, you are getting plus money on the 70 alt line, right? So I totally get it. I just like, I hate when like we've gotten to this inflated of a place, but it makes sense. He's been playing stellar down the stretch. And
it's also, this is the playoffs. They are going to get their playmakers involved. Everything is going to be schemed up to go to like 3 guys.
Yeah, I also wonder how DK Metcalf does affect this team, but either way, I appreciate the wager, and I'm actually going to go for my best bet of the week to the running back to actually replace Kenneth Gainwell in Philadelphia. That's Saquon Barkley. I'm going over 80.5 rushing yards. This is minus 112 at DraftKings, and it's the postseason, so it's Saquon season, baby. SZN, season. Is that what you say? Season? Is that? I've never actually said that out loud, but
it's still season.
No,
it's just season.
It's still season.
Okay.
I don't think anyone's ever called it season.
Okay, well, I'm calling it season now. And last year, like I can remember, if you guys remember, yeah, we might have just lost a couple of subscribers, so I apologize for that. But last year, I was hammering Saquon props in the postseason and most of those lines were coming out like 100 rushing yards or 118 even at times, and like, while he hasn't been as effective this season, the offensive line has certainly deteriorated. He's been coming on really strong as of late, right? Over the past month, 2K say is averaging 20.5 rushing attempts, 100 rushing yards, and 0.75 touchdowns per game. In the 3 NFC playoff games that the Eagles had last year before the Super Bowl, he averaged 22 rushing attempts, 147 rushing yards, 1.7 TDs per game. This matchup is also really, really strong for him. The 49ers have allowed the 7th most rushing yards per game to opposing running backs, 114.8 per game at a 5.3 yards per carry clip. So I was thinking about, would I go with the rushing attempts or should I just go with the rushing yards? And when I saw that 5.3 yards per carry clip in that span, I have to just go with the rushing yards. I don't mind if you want to parlay that with the touchdown or if you want to parlay that also potentially with the rushing attempts. I'm going to personally parlay with the Eagles money line. That is the most confident wager I do have on a game this week. I just think it's going to be a little too much for San Francisco. They've struggled in Philadelphia in the postseason in the past. So I like Saquon Barkley, boys, continue to tear things up here.
I like
call.
that.
Yeah.
I like that. So the 49ers defense is basically rolling out. It looks like an episode of the
they just lost another linebacker. Yeah.
It looks like the replacements. At some point, one more, they're an injury away from Clifford Franklin running out onto the field. I mean, this is like Shane Falco will be quarterbacking this team.
They're 2 injuries away from Air Bud getting out there.
Yeah,
they really are. I mean, at this point, like they got to start making calls to a lot of different like fictional characters. I think Michael J. Fox's character in Teen Wolf needs to go out there and help him out too.
I was waiting to see like the Eric Weddle just returns out of nowhere, hasn't played ball in a couple of years.
Oh yeah,
like
Eric
the
Weddle, Eric
defensive
Berry. I think they need to make a call to like jail, see if they can't get people out on like work releases. Like there needs to be
Henry
something.
Ruggs might be able to throw up some.
I'm telling you, like they need some help. Like
Bro, his legs still work. I'm just saying.
Like because it's getting ugly out there for the 49ers. Credit to Kyle Shanahan, he's kept this this Titanic afloat somehow.
Almost was the number 1 seed. Yeah. Credit to them. Credit to them. But no, I completely agree with you guys. I think it's just one too many losses that he's not going to be able to make up for. Jamie checking in saying he's going to get us a pronunciation guide. He might have something out there. His co-host also struggles to pronounce some names at times. Yeah, I know. And Ben saying Saquon's only gotten better since the Inspiration Bunny RIP existed. I don't know what the Inspiration Bunny is. That's something eternally here at IBT that I maybe missed in your article or something, Ben. If I did, I apologize about that one.
Isn't that the like inflatable? I think they put an inflatable bunny in their locker room.
Oh, for real?
Like one of those like Christmas decoration inflatable bunnies.
Okay. I wonder, are they still doing the Eagles Christmas album this year? Because I know Jason Kelsey kind of was the guy who was spearheading that. Now that he's out of the picture, are they still ripping that? Steve, any?
I feel like we would know by now. I feel like we would know
that.
You're the entertainment guy. What do you mean?
This is an NFL thing. I don't know about the
Eagles
Christmas album.
It's as entertainment as the NFL gets. Come on. If there's one person on this program who should know, it'd probably be Jake. And if not Jake, it should be you. I'm just going to say that. So
I don't know if they make a movie about it. I'll let you know.
All right. Well, Ben, maybe you can do some research for us in the chat. Let us know if there is an Eagles Christmas album.
Oh, there is a
year.
Philadelphia Eagles movie, that walk-on guy, and it's called Invincible with Mark Wahlberg, and it's
terrible.
know.
What? Oh, all right. Well, now we're just taking shots at a good movie, but let's continue on because we don't have time for that, but we do have time for the Anytime Touchdown Call contest presented by our friends over at Dynasty Decks, folks. If you're like me, and you broke your championship trophy a couple years ago, and then you lost all the names and the team names and the records and all the stats that matter on it, just don't. Go to dynastydecks.com. Check them out. See what they got going on over there. It's better than passing a championship trophy back and forth that could break, that might not even make it to the other league mate by the time their reign of the champion has ended because you guys are all living in different places. Just go to dynastydecks.com. Check them out. And if you join the touchdown call contest, might be a little late, but maybe we'll start a little, post-season one. Maybe we'll give you like 5 points per postseason touchdown if you're new to it. You can do that over on the IBT football family right now, $3.99 per month, $36.99 for the year. But things are heating up over there, folks. Things are really, really heating up over there. We got Trav in first place with his first 0-week performance. No touchdown calls for Trav last week correctly for me, the first time all season, right? He is up to 30 though. And I'm sneaking up like a little snake, baby. 27 touchdowns for the kid in second place for the first time all season. Rob holding strong in third place with 25. James with 23. And don't look now, but Steven Lawson in threat to lose his fifth place position. 2 trash sandwiches with 21. Trash has 21. Eric Romoff with 20. Ben with 18. Jake Perry with 16. Jake, you're coming, baby. You're coming out of the cellar. Let's go, man.
Hey, I'm just saying, if we start getting 5 for playoff touchdowns, watch it.
Only new players do.
I might as well be new. I'm down by half.
What are we, a cell phone provider? Listen, you will suffer like the rest of us with 1 point per touchdown.
I'm also hearing no on the Eagles album. Yes, the Eagles had an Inspiration Bunny, which they deflated because they immediately lost. Okay.
So it wasn't the bunny. It was the sacrifice of the Inspiration Bunny.
And Jamie also telling us he made a fantasy football album and it has a song 420 Cushmas song on it. Jamie, I might need to see if we can get the rights to that to air that on a future episode. I'm kind of intrigued a little bit by that, to be honest with you. I'd like to hear the full album and specifically that 420 Cushmas song. That's very interesting. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Steve, you're hurting right now, buddy. If I wanted to be a real jerk, I could have moved you to the right side of the board to giving Trash some hope. She is editor-in-chief, but she's going away this weekend, so she's going to be all gone next week, so I didn't want to inflate her ego too much. So where are you going with your anytime touchdown calls for wild card weekend, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, I've lived on that left side of the board, so I don't think I think I should live there forever.
I will say, when I went to the right side of the board for one episode, it taught me a lesson, and I've been on a heater since. Ty Johnston, plus 375 on the touchdown last week. Also got 2 of them. Just want to say that. So maybe you need it. Maybe you need it.
Sure. All right. I'm going to go with 2 juggernauts in the game. I'm going to go with the Rook, Tetairoa McMillan, playing in the playoffs right out of the chute. I think that, again, when you're in do-or-die situations, you go to your do-or-die players, and that's going to be Tetairoa McMillan for Bryce Young. I think he's going to get into the end zone. That Rams defense is pretty poor against the pass overall, and they do not have a cornerback who can match up physically with Tetairoa McMillan in terms of size. I expect this to be maybe a jump ball or a two, get me back in the running a little bit. And speaking of running, I do expect my boy James Cook to get into the end zone once, if not twice, if not 3 times even, against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Best run defense in the league. You really want that smoke, dog?
I do. I want all the smoke. It's something. James Cook is inevitable. He is Thanos. He is going.
He does have those kind of like reverse splits too. He's better against good run defense teams.
Yeah, he weirdly steamrolls, and it's so strange, but it happens. And I expect James Cook. They gave him a breather last week. He's coming in fresh. That's a scary thing to face off against. I expect James Cook to get me at least 1.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. For my anytime touchdowns, I'm going to start out with maybe the gimme of all gimmies. And the fact that it's at plus money, I'm astounded by. Jalen Hurts, anytime touchdown, plus 130. And like, this is one of those moments, boys, where like, do you remember the last time it was just you and all your, middle school, high school buddies, and you all hung out riding your bikes instead of driving? Well, I don't either, because it was the last time and I didn't appreciate it. This might be the last time we ever get to bet a Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown with this much confidence, because the tush push could be banned after this season. The profitability on Hurts anytimes this season has actually been cut in half. It's been a really negative investment if you've continued to go back to the well with it. I did once this season. I was not profitable. I'm going to try to get back in the right side of things. And really, this comes down to one thing. This is a postseason game. Jalen Hurts has had 10 rushing touchdowns in 9 career playoff games. He has hit in 5 playoff. He has hit this in 5 playoff games, and including founding Pater in 3 of 4 games last season. So when he faced San Francisco in the 2023 playoffs, he also found the end zone. Hurts scored on 50% of his rushes inside the 5-yard line this season. So I need 2 attempts for Hurts, and he's going to find the end zone on that one. And then I'm also going with Nico Collins on the anytime touchdown, plus 151 at Caesars. And while I do think, and I mentioned it earlier, that the Lures should not be 3.5-point dogs against the Texans, I do not trust the back end of their defense, right? Jalen Ramsey, if you told me that he was involved in a gambling operation last week, I would not be surprised. This guy was legitimately trying to throw the game. Multiple blown assignments, missed a jump ball on 4th down to Isaiah Likely. So I do not trust this defense. The Steelers have allowed the second most touchdowns to receivers over the past month, 1.3 per game. They're tied for the 5th most to tight ends in that span as well, at 0.8 per game. So this back end of the defense, while Cam Hayward was playing out of his mind, TJ Watt was back and looking awesome. Herbig, Highsmith, and the boys were ready to go. The back end of this defense is garbage. I do not trust it. And I have no doubt that Nico can go out and cash this, because he has hit this in 50% of his playoff games. And in back-to-back seasons, he's done it in wild card weekend specifically. So give me a little Nico Collins and Jalen Hurts on the anytime touchdown. Jacob Perry, where are you going?
Yeah, I'm starting off with Davante Adams. I mean, when you have a 36% target share in the red zone, you're going to score some touchdowns. Yeah. And this is a game, again, that we've talked about. I think the Rams are going to handedly win this one. I don't think it's going to be particularly close. I think Adams is going to play a big part of that. 14 touchdowns on the year. Clearly, him and Matt Stafford have something they like together there. And then, much like your lack of trust in Pittsburgh's defense, I'm going with Christian Watson against Chicago. If there's one thing you can do against the Bears, it's if you're fast, you can beat us, because our defense is slower than me with a torn hamstring, it seems. And he's averaging a touchdown a game so far this year against Chicago. And, you're getting Jordan Love back, so the deep ball is going to be better than with Malik Willis. The passing game in general, it has looked pretty good against Chicago. Yes, we can get some picks. We have Nashawn Wright, who, came out of nowhere, had some picks. Kevin Byard, the season-long interception leader. It doesn't matter. If you can get past one guy in our defense, it's a touchdown. And if anybody can do this on Green Bay, it's Watson.
Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to get out of here with our PropDecks tournament lineup reveals. And again, if you guys want to get invested in this PropDecks tournament for absolutely free on the house, don't got to pay anything. All you got to do, head to in-betweenme.com/chat. That's going to take you to our Discord community. Join there. Go to the NFL playoffs, prop deck tournament contest channel in there. All the everything you need to know is going to be in there. You can also find that link in the episode description as well. So make sure you're checking that out. And Jamie, I'm seeing you're wanting to reach out. You got that song locked and loaded for me. Go over to the IBT football family, man. You can reach me right there on the Discord, in-betweenmedia.com/chat. You're also going to get access while you're being in there, man, into our memorabilia contest. You can chat with myself, any of our analysts here, all for free on the house. And you can upgrade if you want the full betting cards or to be a part of that touchdown call contest. But again, PropDecks tournament is free to join right now. So gentlemen, let's go through our lineups. All three of us had a lineup that we put together here. And the great thing about PropDecks, guys, and why this is arguably my favorite sponsor that we've ever worked with, right, is because they can actually give you real flexibility in building your lineup, right? You look at our lineups here. Steve's potential points before he got the max bonus of hitting all of them, the 150 bonus that comes with that, is 207. Jake's is 127. Mine is 110. So I'm playing it much more conservative than someone like Steve. So Steve, let's go ahead, run through your PropDecks lineup for us real quickly, if you could, please.
Yeah, so quarterback, I went with Josh Allen, the king of the fantasy quarterbacks, as usual. I went pretty simple here. Passing yards, over 200, and then over 31 rushing yards. That gave me a 24 points. Easy, safe base, right? Because I knew I was going to get aggressive as I went on. So I wanted to make sure my quarterback was safe and I could get some points there. Etienne is where I really am like kind of putting it on the table, if
sure
you will. 53.5 rushing yards, 19.5 receiving yards, and a touchdown. I am kind of believing that this is going to be an Etienne game. Because,
well, it fits your props, right? That's what you're on.
Right. So I went with the props that way. And I think the secondary for Buffalo is significantly better than their front seven. So I like that. Going off of your touchdown call, though, Seth, I do like Nico Collins in this matchup, where he's going to have 78.5 rushing yards, 4.5 receptions, and a touchdown. I think this is a big game for a big play player. Nico Collins is a bombs away kind of wide receiver. He loves to take the top off of defenses. I fully expect him to be able to do that. I am all in on the Texans against the Steelers. I think that Dalton Schultz as my tight end going over 35.5 yards with 4.5 receptions. I almost went
with Schultz, yeah.
Just a nice chain mover, right? Let me get down the field here. That gave me 25.6 points. I was shocked at the number of points that allotted me. And then I'm going to finish it off with Kyron, who I put in for a monster game as well, because the Carolina Panthers are pretty abysmal.
Jake, where did you go for your PropDecks lineup for Wild Card Weekend, my friend?
Yep, I'm starting out with Matthew Stafford, over 265.5 passing yards. Pretty straightforward. We think this is going to be a blowout in the Rams' favor. Even when the Rams blow teams out, Stafford's throwing the ball 35 times. So this should be fairly easy for him to get to. Following that up with James Cook, 80.5 or more rushing yards, and then 1.5 receptions. Got a little riskier here, adding in a second prop. But my philosophy throughout this whole thing was it's a full playoff contest. I've got multiple weeks to make up points. Let me start building the base a little bit. So got a little frazzly there, but again, just a good matchup, a guy who, was in contention for the rushing title this season. So a guy who can definitely, even against good defenses, hit those numbers. Tailing myself here, Davante Adams, 1 rushing and receiving touchdown, give me 14 points there. Colson Loveland is my biggest risk play here. I've got his receptions at 3.5 and his receiving yards at 55.5. The receptions isn't as risky. He's hit that number in 4 of his last 5. When it comes to the reception yards number, he's hit that in 3 of his last 4. He has not hit that this season against Green Bay. So that's definitely where it gets a little riskier. But if that works for me, that gets me 44 points. It's a huge hit if it hits. And then ending it with Christian McCaffrey, over 4.5 receptions, and then getting into the end zone as well to wrap me up with 25. Like you said, my max potential points is 277. Like I said, it's a full playoff contest. I've got time to make up and get riskier as the games get a little bit more concise. But I wanted to spread a little bit of a wider net here and play it a little bit safer to start.
Just for reference too, like Steve's max potential lineup before that plus 150 perfect lineup bonus is almost as much as my entire lineup would be with that max potential. So I go very conservative when it comes to prop decks. It's how I am as a bettor, right? And that's the one cool thing about this product is it kind of can translate. If you're more of an aggressive bettor, then Steve, I know you like your parlays, right? Then you can be a bit more aggressive. If you like drinking some juice like I do, you can be a bit less aggressive. So for my prop decks lineup for this week in wildcard weekend, I'm going Jalen Hurts over the half of rushing receiving touchdown. I have that anytime touchdown ticket in my back pocket. I think he's going to find that 16.4 points. Blake Corum over 7.5 rushing attempts, over 40.5 yards as well for 24.6 points. Nico Collins, I have him going for that anytime touchdown. I have that ticket in my back pocket. I also have the receptions or receiving yards going over 55.5 yards. That's going to give me 29.8 points. Pat Freiermuth just going on the straight receiving yards, 34.5 for 14.9 points. And then Saquon Barkley, the big thumper in the flex, going with the rushing yards, 80.5. Already broke down that handicap and the rushing attempts, 15.5. So that is where I am going. Again, guys, you can join this PropDecks playoff tournament for absolutely free right now. Just go to in-betweenme.com/chat. First place, you're going to get a $200 Fanatics gift card on the house. Second place, a signed Zach Evans Ole Miss Rebels jersey, baby. Sorry we don't have a Trinidad jersey. I know he's been popping off, but we do have a little Zach Evans jersey for you from back in the day. And then a free entry to Draft Night Out 2026 in Canton, Ohio is where that's going to get you as well in third. So, gentlemen, great stuff as always. I really appreciate everything you guys do here, not only on the Between Fantasy Football podcast, but also across all of our different shows and genres we have here. Jake, I know you just wrote a review on Stranger Things that will be out here this week. I know you guys also have a popcorn here. Yes.
Can I ask Jake, is it true?
I don't know.
Do you think it's? I need an answer. Yes or no.
The Duffer brothers are hinting so hard that it's going to happen that I don't think it's going to happen.
It's tomorrow. It's either tomorrow or it's not happening.
I don't think it's happening.
What are you talking about?
So there's the finale of Stranger Things. There's a theory that there's a secret 9th episode that's going to drop tomorrow.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Yep. Well, Jake, you may be doing some revisions to that article, but we will publish it either way. You can then make an updated line on that. What's happening on Popcorn Roop here this week? Or is it Grammy picks? Is that where
Grammys? Yeah, we're covering the Grammys. But I'll tell you what, if Stranger Things drops a Psycho episode tomorrow, we'll be doing a heavy segment on that beforehand.
All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that. We also have the 19th hole. That'll be back with you next week. Jake Perry on that. And then NASCAR betting. The season's still winding up, looking for those future markets. Rod and I will have an Indy car preview for you for win totals, future markets, anything like the season championship, Indy 500, anything like that. We're going to be breaking that down for you on Thursday night. Another NFL betting episode of the IBT podcast coming your way later this week. So a lot of good stuff happening here. A ton of college football betting content also on the site, courtesy of our guy Phil as well. So we're here to help you cash more, to enjoy the ride along the way. Please be sure check out in-betweenme.com for some of that dope written content. Join the Discord for free. Join our postseason prop decks contest, in-betweenme.com/chat. For Steven Lawson and Jake Perry, I am Seth Wilcock. Thank you so much for watching. Keep it in between until next time, and enjoy Wild Card Weekend.